sure you get caption. Okay, so lab is not very long. You are going to use a virtual machine. I know some of you are new to this area. And so if you have used it before in another class, please help someone if they need help around you. I am going to use virtual machine regularly in this class only because like I said, right, we can't install a bunch of things on their computer and we are gonna use files that could be risky, right? I'm gonna give you the real deal, so you're not gonna, you are gonna actually have infected file today. We don't want to use it on a regular computer, so it's best to have a virtual machine. Can you create a virtual machine? You sure can. I also have like pre-made virtual machine, but it takes forever to download from my Google Drive. But you can, you know, find instructions to make virtual machines. And if you need to, you can bring an external hard drive. You can transfer the one that we're using to your drive or your laptop, right? And then when you're done, you can also delete it to free up some space. Okay, so you're gonna take one of these hard drive or external hard drive that the school provide, plug it into your computer. And then you're gonna open up your PC, right? And you're gonna open up the drive, okay? Now on this drive, because we're sharing this drive with all the other classes, right? This is my way of allowing the student to have the administrative control of their system. You're gonna look for CIS27A virtual machine clone, that folder, and it tells you that on the instruction here. You're gonna look for this folder, okay? This folder. And so open up this PC and then double click your USB drive, not your flash drive, but your external hard drive. And you're going to go down the list and you're gonna search for CIS27A fall 2023. This is a virtual machine that I created a while back, and it's, you know, it has all the tools and things that you need for the class. So once you find the folder, don't open it. You're gonna right click it. You're gonna select copy, or you can drag it onto your desktop. So we're gonna copy it and paste it to your desktop. The reason why I have you do this is because if you run the virtual machine directly from the drive, likely that it should be okay. Sometimes it crashes. But in the future, someone else is using that and it might not work for them. Okay. It changes the state of the machine because virtual machine is a state machine, your computer is a state machine. So it's gonna create like it's gonna, when you shut it down or turn it off, it's gonna pause it. It's like pressing pause on your, some of you might still have a DVD player or Blu-ray, right? Or pause on your video on YouTube, right? And then someone else is trying to watch the beginning, but it's in the middle of the video and they can't. So that's the problem, right? So what you're gonna do is you need one? Oh, yeah. Okay. You found one? Hopefully. Okay. I'll give you mine. I'm done copying. Right? But what you're gonna do is you're gonna find that folder and you're gonna copy and paste it onto your desktop. Here you go. And then once you're done, go to your desktop. And it should have that folder on there, right? Drag it to your desktop. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Don't play it from the drive because you're going to end up modifying it. And when you use it again, it might crash on you. I can fix it for you, but it's just minimize the problem later. Okay. Now, once you have it on your desktop, that's going to take like a few minutes. Okay. Depending on the drive speed, it might be really slow. You have two files. One is your VirtualBox file. You look, the blue icon is a VirtualBox file. This blue file is always used to play your virtual machine. The second file, think of it like your C drive. That's a storage file. So the virtual disk image. Now, if it has more than these two files, you're going to have to delete the logs file and other. Okay. My phone gets dry. Sorry. So open up the folder on your desktop. And then we're going to double click. We're going to double click the blue icon file. But make sure it's from your desktop folder. Okay. So this is the player of your virtual machine, right? Think of it like the YouTube player where you can control pause, fast forward, repeat, etc. We can change how our virtual machine is used, like how much RAM, right? Now, the faster you scan, the faster you scan is going to be relying on the faster how much RAM you have and how much processing power you have. Okay. I'll put some extra ones up here. Sorry, I have it in two containers because we're trying to organize. Okay, so to check, you're gonna make sure that your virtual machine is selected because you might have many virtual machine on here. And if you're done and you're sitting next to someone that needs a VM, you can also give them the drive. You don't need the drive all the time, you just need it to copy. Okay, so make sure your machine is selected. You're gonna go to settings. Okay. And on this particular machine, I have 10,000, which is 10 gig. It's the one on top. It's fine. This one doesn't work?
No, this is good. Have it.
Okay.
Mine doesn't have.
And grab the purple one and check. And if you have one, if you have a drive that has it, you can loan it to someone. Okay. You just need to copy it to your desktop. You don't need to drive the whole time. So if you have already copied it, right? Just loan it to the person who needs it next to you. Okay. So how did I find this? I click on my virtual machine, go to settings, and I just need to check. Make sure you have 8,000 or more here. Okay. 8,000 megabyte is 8 gig and 10,000 megabyte is 10 gig. So I'm going to modify this to 8,000. Because 10 is a lot. It's okay. You can have 10 or more. As long as you have enough RAM on your physical computer to accommodate it. The Alienware in this classroom has 32 gig of RAM. So it can give 8 gig.
So they have it.
It didn't have it?
No, I didn't.
Oh. Did you need it?
Yeah, I got one over here.
Oh, you did one? Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure I'll put these on. Yeah. You got one? Okay. I'll copy the ones that missing. Cause what happened? Yes, that one.
This one.
Did you copy one? Did you copy one? Did you
No,
you
no,
could
because of both. The one
Okay.
I have doesn't have it.
okay. Who has copied their virtual machine over already? Yep. Did you have a drive that you can loan them?
He's borrowing right now.
Okay. Okay, give me a second. I'll copy a couple for you. Why was it deleted though? Okay, let me do 2 copy before I start my VM. Hold on, I'm gonna pause my video real quick. Okay, so we talked about the password could be this, right, or this, and you need to cancel out of the VBox user. I think you can pre-configure it, but they just change the image of the system. So what you're gonna do is you are going to, you can log into Canvas or Outlook and then open up a document this. It doesn't allow you to copy and paste and see if you can, change your input, but sometimes it doesn't. Let me see. I'm gonna try to see, but I highly doubt that they let you do that here. Okay. So on your virtual machine, what we can do is we can open up Chrome. And we are going to, sorry, it's a little slow. And then you can log into your Canvas, access your document, and then you can click the link, right? So we can go to Outlook. Oops. And you will find that sometimes it is a little laggy, right? And that's typical of your VM. Or you can log into Canvas website directly. So what we want is we are going to be able to get out of that real quick. So I can just click. Okay, I'm gonna sign into my account on Canvas, download lab 1 inside the VM, or actually access the link so I can download my PCAP. I think I tried to share this file via Canvas, but it was large or something with it, and they did not allow me to, so. And then log off after you download it. So inside my virtual machine now, right? I'm going to access my Outlook account so I can go to my Canvas because it's single sign-on. And I'm going to download the traffic capture file, which is the next part of your lab. And your lab is definitely not long, and NetworkMiner stuff is not long, right? It's really easy once you get everything set up and download. So once I'm in my Outlook account, I'll just go ahead and click all the apps and then click Canvas. Or you can log into Canvas directly. I just use single sign-on, so it's easy for me. Oh, mine is very laggy. Yours is the same? Yeah. Okay, so while it's doing its thing, once we have access to Canvas Lab 1, we're gonna access the link and we're gonna click it to download. Otherwise, you have to type the whole thing, and likely that it's not gonna let you go to the URL. Once you download, make sure that you sign off everything, like log off. Okay, so I'm in my Canvas now inside my virtual machine, and I'm gonna go to lab 1. And you don't have to download the document. You can click the link within the embedded page. So, or copy and paste the link. And I have to distribute this from, I believe, my Google Drive, right? So we can copy the link address and then we can, or if you click it, it's gonna open up in Bing or Google, Microsoft browser. Okay, so I just copy and paste the link. So on here, what you see is I have shared a lot of different capture. We are going to use some of these down the line, right? There's going to be a StuckNet virus memory analysis lab. So we're going to do that later. But what you want is you're going to want the 821, right? It tells you to use the 821 analysis exercise. This is the one. So we're gonna go ahead and click it. And if you need to download the virtual machine in the other folder I have uploaded there, it's your virtual machine. So click download. And it's gonna take a few minutes to come down. Okay. So I can check to see if my downloads are there. You can go to the folder in here and see if it's there. It should be a PCAP file. You can't really open it without NetworkMiner, so you have to just download it and then open up the app to open it, okay? So again, I access my canvas inside the virtual machine. I copy the link or click it to download my capture file, and you can find that on the downloads folder or inside it. Okay, so once I downloaded it, what I can do is I can close everything or sign off, right? So I'm going to check right now to see if it's in my downloads folder, right? So it should be that one. Inside the virtual machine, so make sure we have the difference between the VM and the outside, the host system, right? Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and close my download page, and then I'm going to go ahead and close, right? And then I want to sign off my Outlook account. And then close your browser session. So make sure we sign off all of these accounts that we logged on to download, because it's credential Trojan, right? So a Trojan is something that is hidden inside something that looks benign or regular, right? Trojan, it could be malicious internally, but the outside looks normal. So what we want is we want to be able to see if it is a Trojan, if it's CIS Trojan, right? Okay. So for the next part, I shouldn't select bidirectional input, but for the next part, so once you download it, if you don't have NetworkMiner installed, you're gonna have to install it. I know some of the images have the NetworkMiner install, but what you can do is you can just download it. Now on here, it tells you that you should be running this on a virtual machine, particularly using a security onion. You don't have to use a security onion. You can just use like a Windows VM or a Linux VM to be able to do analysis, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to right click the Windows button and we're going to change the setting. We're going to turn off the firewall and all of those things, but we have to make sure that the NetworkMiner is there, right? So hold on one second. Let me make sure that I'm changing this back. It keeps wanting to guess how it should be on bidirectional. Anyway, so we're gonna come back in here, and if you can check to see if you have NetworkMiner installed. If you don't, you can open up Chrome. And if you do, you just open up NetworkMiner and follow the instruction for your lab. And you're gonna search for NetworkMiner. It's one word, right? And you're going to find the download option. So I'm gonna scroll down and I'm gonna go to right? Reset. That's the organization, right? For the website. I'm gonna go there. And once you search for it, you're gonna find that reset link. And you are going to look for the download option. Let me see. Maybe better to just to search downloads. Yeah. They have a download page. Yeah. So on that, if you click that link, if you scroll down, you're gonna download the free edition. You don't need to buy. This is very expensive. For the professional edition, it's $1,300. We're gonna use the free edition. So scroll down on the download page and click download, the green button. Right? But if you already have NetworkMiner on your virtual machine, then you can just open it and run your image or your capture. So I don't have, I'm using, most of you are using the same virtual machine that I do. So I open up Chrome, right? I search for NetworkMiner, one word, download. And then I'm gonna go to the net reset link right here. And scroll down. You're gonna find two options. One is the paid version, and the first option is free. So that's what we're gonna download, the free edition. Once we have the free edition downloaded, it's gonna come down as a zip folder, right? As you know, everything that's compressed, in order to access it, you have to decompress it. So right click, extract all. And so I'm teaching you this from scratch. So if you don't have NetworkMiner and you want to use it, this is what you do. You download and you extract, and you're gonna find the executable. Inside the extracted folder, you notice that? So this is what I download. It has a zip symbol. And in order to access the application, I have to extract it. So right click, extract all. And then it's going to give me the folder without the zip symbol. And I'm going to open that up. And then open up the subfolder. And I'm going to see the application, the EXE. It's in purple. Okay. So that's how you get NetworkMiner. Again, download the free edition. It's going to come down as a zip folder. Go to your downloads, right? Right click it, choose extract all, and then it's going to give you a folder without the zip symbol. So the decompress folder, open that up, open up the subfolder, and then you're going to find the application file, which is the EXE. It has the purple icon next to it. You're going to double click it, and there you have the application. So this particular application can be used as a network sniffer, but it's mostly used to read captured from network sniffer for forensic purposes. It's best for that, right? But you can use this to capture. I normally capture it in my Wireshark and save it as a PPAP and then import that into here. But Wireshark can be used to do network forensic, and you're going to learn that later. I'm going to show you how you can analyze it. So once your application is running, we're going to load the capture file that we downloaded from Casey Wynn Google Drive that when we accessed Canvas earlier, right? So you are going to go ahead and click File, Open, and go to your downloads again, and you're going to find that traffic analysis exercise file, and you're going to select it and click Open. So open up your NetworkMiner application from the decompress folder, and then click File, and open up your PCAP file from the downloads that you downloaded from the link that it's on your lab. Okay? Any question? Need any help? Okay. So once you have that, right? I close my, so if I need to open the app again, just open up your downloads folder. Open up NetworkMiner folder, its subfolder, and open up the application file. So the exe, you're gonna run the executable. And then open up your traffic analysis file. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how you can read this. So this is basically a network capture. You see how that virus warning pop up? It's already seeing malware, right? So what happens is if there's malware coming through the network and when you capture it, that capture contains malware. Understand? So what we have to do is, because we're doing forensic in it, we want to see it. Windows gonna quarantine it, it's gonna lock it away. You're not gonna be able to see it, and your result is gonna be inaccurate. Okay? So when you see that virus warning, you need to go to the security center and you need to disable that virus warning. Because now we want to see the malware, right? Normally we don't want to see the malware, right? We want Windows to handle it. So if you do this in your regular computer, guess what happens? Your regular computer is gonna be infected and it's gonna quarantine it. Now, ICE is a very common Trojan. It's been known for a long time, so it's gonna try to lock it away as soon as possible. But sometimes you get virus that's polymorphic, so it modifies its form, and you don't know. So it's best that you have a contained environment. Okay. So what we're gonna do is in the next step, sorry, I have my stuff changed, so okay. In the next step, we already load the capture. We need to disable, right? We need to disable the option for your security. So we want to disable the firewall and also your threat center, right? So on your settings or on your Windows system, your virtual machine, you're gonna right click. You are going to go to settings. And then I'm just gonna disable, I don't think firewall matters very much, but we'll just follow the instructions. So we will change our options. So I'm doing the next few steps. So I go into my settings, right click Windows option button, and then select settings. And this is gonna come up. So you're gonna click network and internet. And then you are going to, what does it say? Sorry, I'm on. Okay, we are going to click on Windows Firewall and select domain network, and then we're going to toggle the button and we're going to click yes. And you can also search for firewall. Okay, so click on Windows Defender. And then we're going to change this settings. Go ahead. What? Did you have a question?
USB-C charger?
No, I don't. Did you need it for something?
Yeah, my laptop's about that.
I don't know if my you need a cable or you need a charger.
I need a charger.
No, I don't have it.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I have a cable like USB-C. Okay, so all I did was I went to settings and I just searched for Windows Firewall. You can also search for Windows Firewall inside your search option here. And then you can click on turn a Windows Firewall on or off. We want to turn this off for both. Okay. And then click OK. So we want to turn it off for private and guest. The reason for that is, it might filter, but I don't think it really matters very much. And then once you do that, you're going to click close. Now, you know that it's already quarantining your malware. So when I open that up, it's not gonna. So we're gonna go back to home, and before we close this, you can also go to system and be able to find it. But I'm gonna go ahead and look for the virus threat protection center. So just search for threat and open that up. Okay. So here it's going to tell you, right, the history of what had happened. So it tells you here, right, there's nothing. What you want to do is you want to, I think you need to change your settings. Or maybe it doesn't see it yet. Okay, let me look at my app real quick. Yeah, I don't think it locks it away yet. Okay. But if it shows you that it's locking it away, it's going to show it at the threat center. So how did I get to the threat center? I simply in the setting, I just search for threat, and I would open the virus protection center up, and it tells me there's no current threat, so it's not seeing it yet, right? But if you need to allow it, you need to click on allow the threat. Okay. So it hasn't quarantined it yet. Okay. So there's a delay in the process. All right. So now we already loaded everything. What I want you to do is I want you to take a screenshot of that. So I'm at step 24. Right. And at step 24, it tells you to do a screenshot. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look in the app and we're going to answer these questions. The reason why we write everything down here is when you do the report at the end, just go back to your answer and then you have the screenshot and all your answer that you need to put together. So when you do investigation for forensic, you would write down a list of questions what you want to find. And as you find it, you need to screenshot it. And so that way, at the end, when you compile the report, you just pull all of those items together. It's like writing a paper. You started writing down some little pieces of ideas and paragraphs. And then when you combine all the paragraphs, you have a report, right? An essay. So I want you to screenshot once you have loaded in your application. And when we come back here, if you look at the top, it's going to tell you 54 hosts were found in that capture. That means that there are 54 computers connected at the time that network capture was taking place, right? So a network capture is like taking a snapshot, a picture of all the communicating system on the network at that moment in time. So it's saying to me that there are 54 hosts. That means 54 systems that are communicating. That means it could be a switch, a router, a computer, appliances. It could be many different things talking at the same time, right here. Okay. So it tells you how many files were identified. So here, what you're going to see is going to tell you there's 136 files, right? So once you click that tab, it's going to tell you, it's going to show you the type of file. So first answer the question, okay? And then all you have to do is look at the top of the tab and it's going to give you the summary, the number, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to click on the credential tab. And on the credential tab, it's going to tell you all the account name, right? The username and the login information into the domain. So when you first sit down in the lab, in the classroom today, you log into RCCD account. Imagine that when you do that, your credential is recorded in a capture, right? So in networks, we can see everybody and everything. It's very transparent. It's kind of like putting a surveillance camera in the middle of the street and see all the cars coming by and who's sitting inside the car, right? So there's no hiding in network environment, right? It's if you mask, you have to take on someone's address and so on. So what you're gonna do is you are going to click on the credential and you're gonna see the account name, right? So if you log in with your student email account, right, and your password, when we capture it, when we do forensic with it, we see your login. Okay? So when you click on the credential tab, you're gonna see the username, it shows Matthew Jones, and then the password is in plain text. Even though it's Kerberos, right? But you're like, wait, you taught me CIS27. You said Kerberos is a good encrypted authentication tool, right? Well, good enough, right? But there's no 100% security in everything. Sometimes some software will be able to see that. So what you see is you see the password that he was using for that network, which is Pizza Bender. Okay. So answer the questions for 25 after you click the credential. And then after you find that information, you write it down, right? There are two options that's shown, NTLM and Kerberos. Those are authentication protocols that are used in Windows authentication, right? So having a little bit more technical knowledge in this area and access, in encryption and authentication is going to help you understanding like what is shown there. Then what we're going to do is we are going to click on, it tells you to click on the host tab. So go back to the first tab. And then what you're going to do is you are going to go down and you can also search and filter right here. If I put in the IP address that's asked, which is, how did I get that IP address? Well, in the credential, I know it's Matthew Jones that I recorded, right? And it's tied to an IP address. And then in the case, it shows you some information from the prior section. But we're going to search for an IP address. Is 10.8.21.163. Or you can simply scroll down and find it. So I'm going to do a search and a filter for it. So if you put it in the search option and press enter or apply, click apply, you're going to see only that particular system, right? On the host tab. And you can expand it. It's going to show you the IP address. So an IP address is used for a system to communicate inside that network. Like this computer with that computer, right? With my computer. So it is an address that's used for that particular network, right? So I simply just filter that address for step 26. And then the MAC address is the actual physical address for that computer. Can IP address change? Sure. Right? A month from now, the IP address might not be the same. The way that we reuse IP addresses, just think of it like an IP address is just used dynamically. It's shared sometimes. Like not shared, I should say it's renewed, it's changed over time. So that way we can reuse it for other systems, right? So I want to narrow specifically down to Matthew Jones' IP address, and this is his IP address. And the physical address, right? So my analogy is like this. It's like you live in a neighborhood and your house is yellow, right? But your house can be painted in blue or red or whatever color down the line 5 years from now. So an IP address is everybody in that neighborhood know your house, your resident as a yellow house, right? But the real address is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say Main Street, okay? So the MAC address is that. It's the permanent address is given to that resident or that house. It's a permanent address that's to that system, right? Whereas an IP address is just a number that's used for that network at that moment in time, right? It's for that lease. So it's used to route information based on the given lease. So here's a MAC address. That's the physical address of that system. Okay, so you can answer that question. It says, what is the MAC address of the host? So write that down. And then it asks you, what is the operating system of that host? It doesn't say which version of Windows, but it tells you Windows, right? So it could be older Windows, it could be newer Windows. Okay, so once we have that set up, we're going to expand the next part. So we're gonna keep clicking the plus sign, right? Under host details, and it's gonna tell you more. And this is what NetworkMiner is best at. It's gonna dig out the system that's connected, the information about that system, and it's going to tell you all the information about that system. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna look through, click on the plus sign in the host detail, which is what I did here, and that's gonna give you the answer for 27. Okay, like network BIOS. So we already saw the user information from the other tab, right? It also talks about the domain here. So network BIOS names. So net BIOS is a way that system can be seen in the network. Instead of an IP address, it can be seen by a name. Like, for example, you know how you are seen as a student ID in RTCD? It's like that. It's a way that we can identify a system by name, especially Windows system by name, right? So we would be able to answer question number 27 by looking at network BIOS. And then we're going to scroll down and look at the Kerberos or the username. Okay, you already saw the username from the host tab. So Matthew.Jones. Some company they use, like here at NBC, we use first and last name in the domain access for the account, the user account. Some company they would use user ID or employee ID, etc. Okay, so once you have 27 answered, right, you can also find NTLM. Let me see if I can find. So if you don't have the information from here, you can also use the other tab. We already saw that on the credential. It's still the same. It's still Matthew.Jones, I believe. Yeah, right. Okay. And then you are going to go into the files. Okay. So all the files that were passed through the network are identified here. That's amazing, right? Like your certificate, you know, when you visit a secure website, right? It exchanges certificates so that way your session is encrypted, like when you log into your bank account or your financial aid or school portal, etc. So you see that there, right? CER. Then you have other types of file, like a .cab. Cab file is used for driver or system functionality. A lot of virus likes to use, malware likes to use .cab file, .dll, dynamic library, right? So that way it can access at system level. So be aware of that, right? Like the DLL file here. See how it's .cab, right? So naturally, you should say, okay, what kind of file should I be looking at if it's malware, right? Think about that, right? We can disregard all the cert files, but we can narrow down on a certain type of file here, okay? Okay, so now what we can do is we can also filter by keyword. So here I give you 45.12.4.190. So this is potentially, this could be a public IP that Matthew.Jones system was connected to, right? If I go to a website like google.com, that will be the IP of that domain, right? So this So how did I get this information? So earlier, remember the host list? Those are list all the IPs of the destination and the source, the systems that are communicating back and forth. So I'm just narrowing down on which IP address that Matthew Jones system that connected to that could open up or be potential threat, right? So I'm gonna try to drill down this IP address, and sure enough, remember what I said about the .cat file, right? My experience with malware is that these type of system files, dynamic library files, malware likes to monopolize on it. So you are gonna see, right, Trojan or not, you're gonna see a .pop, the DLL extension, and a .cat file like that. Okay, and it's passing through the network, so we can see that, right? Okay. Okay, so look at the file size. So the size here and the extension, the type. So when you document, you have to put all of that down. So that's for 29. So the source address, where it's coming from. So if you scroll right, so it's coming from that 45.12.4.190. That's the website. And who receives it? It was Matthew Jones' computer, the destination. Okay. So Matthew Jones' computer downloaded that file. And then the port, that's an 80. So if you're familiar with port number, port 80 is an HTTP port. That's not secure, right? So you likely visit a non-secure website and download something with it during that process. All right. So we should be able to answer. Now, timestamp is important, right? So if you scroll right, it's going to tell you the timestamp. 2020, August 21st at 15:04. So that's about 3 p.m., 3:04 p.m. And it was downloaded to this path. This is the location where it's downloaded to. So if you keep scrolling right, you'll be able to answer number 29. Now, you can skip 30 because I think in the free new version of the free NetworkMiner, they stopped allowing you to do the hash calculation. In the old version, it has it. So when I originally wrote this, so if you right click it, right, you're not able to do the hash lookup or anything like that. So they stopped using that feature. So you don't have to answer number 30. Skip 30. Yeah, there you can use the hash in the detail. If you click the file details. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes see how mine, oh, now it's quarantined. See, you see that? So now I can no longer access so now I have to go and tell it, like, give it back to me, right? So when you see that, click this and then allow thread, then you can continue. But so this Windows Defender is going to be delayed like that. You will see. Okay, so it doesn't. So that means that you already been infected for a little while, and then. All right. Yeah. So sometimes, in my experience, you can access it sometimes, and then sometimes if it's quarantining it, you can't get the hash for it, right? So you have to allow. So I just got quarantined my file, my infected file. So you just gotta click on this. You can go in here and see how it says blocked, and it's severe. So you have to click yes. And then you gotta go in here, and then you gotta go to actions, and then you have to restore. So you gotta put it back so that way you can examine it some more, right? Because from this point on, if it's quarantine, right, you can't get your hash, you can no longer look at it. Okay, and that's with malware analysis, that's how it is. We normally use a sandbox, and you have to also disconnect it from the rest of the network and such, right? But, so I kind of want to show you a little bit about how you can look at from a network standpoint. Okay. All right, so if you're not able to answer 30, that's fine. And then I'm gonna go ahead and restart this so I can continue doing what I'm doing because we're almost done. And then you gotta go to all the block and you gotta tell the action you gotta allow, right? Making sure, so now it should be able to put it back. Okay, so we're gonna go to number 32, 31. And then we're gonna filter 10.8.21.163. Matthew Jones computer again. Okay. Then what we're gonna do is we are going to look at like what kind of destination or what kind of like if I look at I already know from the previous step, right? This one is a malicious website, period. So you're already flagging that one, the 45.12.4.190. That's the one that give us that dynamic library file. So that one you need to write down, and you gotta be detailed and specific, like the .com, the domain, the IP address that it uses, and so on. And then what you're gonna also do is you can look at other ones. Like, does the 52 look suspicious? Right? Sometimes it's a Skype destination, so sometimes you kind of have to research it a little bit. Like open your browser, try to find like if that domain exists. You can also use other online tools to be able to identify. I know in my 27 class, I talk about like checking the integrity and validity of the domain, right? There is tools, and you can also just Google that. So you can put in the IP address or the domain that is registered to it. Okay, so you can go down the list and you can examine some of the external IP addresses, not the .10, but the 452, 23, etc. Like, is this a legitimate website? Is it it could be a potential threat, whatever it is. And then what you're gonna do is you are going to put down the answer for those for number 32. Okay. Now, once you have all of those things, you need to do 33. Okay. It's not the end of the lab. Your findings is not complete until you have a summarized report. And I already laid down the step for you, kind of giving you all the breadcrumbs to the end, right? So it's streamlined the process for you, but understand that, as you go, you need to write down all the information. And then ultimately, I'm gonna get out of this. Ultimately, we are going to write down everything that we found. Your name, the day, today's date, right? Incident date and time, right? Put down the time, and the timestamp helps you, right? What happened on that day at 3:04 p.m., etc. Affected system, you already know the IP address, the NetBIOS information, you already have the impacted user account, Matthew.Jones. You already have all of this was from all the answers that you have written down from the questions, right? If you don't have the hashes, right, it's okay. But in the real world, in the industry, you use a hash generator to be able to check the file. So you can submit the file to it. But it is a malicious file, so you can also find this particular file from virustotal.com. A lot of people submit this file to it to determine. So if you're not sure if your file is malicious or not, you can submit it to a website like VirusTotal and check it. Okay. Or you can scan it with an online cloud-based anti-malware. So put down your file information, which we written down as answer, and then the domains that we put down, the port information. So everything that you have is already ready for 33. And then the N is your own insight. What is your recommendation about the finding, right? Maybe Matthew Jones need to have more knowledge about, safe websites and how to use the internet safely, right? So user training, you can recommend some of the things. Maybe pizza vendor can do a better job at what? Protecting the network from change in their system. So maybe having more of a more effective live scanning for malware and updates, right? But as you saw, there's a delay, right? Not all networking systems is gonna pick up malware. It's only as good as its signature and database, right? And how responsive it is. You saw how my virtual machine, it's like what, half an hour later. Wait a minute, I lock up your malware, right? So expect that in real life, and that's what we deal with all the time. Okay, so now you have experience on how to do that. So in the real world, we can capture this on Wireshark, take it, or even NetworkMiner, and then take it and interpret it. So this is what a lot of the specialists and the analysts do all the time, right? Is threat hunting through the network. So cool, not cool.
Cool.
All right. So I'm gonna stop the recording. You don't need to submit it tonight. So when you're done, be nice to your virtual machine, right? Click Windows, shut down. Make sure we save our work and make sure we detach our USB and take it with us, okay? Because I always get an email like at 1 a.m. I forgot my USB. Please make sure you secure it for me. So make sure we take it. So I'm gonna stop recording.